up, everyone? Welcome back to Steve's Project Car Garage. My name is Steve. Today, we're going to lay some paint. So grab yourself a cup of jitter juice and stick around. Alright, well, I know it's been a few weeks, I think 5 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, since I posted last. But we're ready to actually lay some paint. I've been just kind of waiting for the right day to do it because it's been very hot. And yeah, mornings aren't always the easiest for me to get time for. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and lay down a sealer coat on this. We're going to be using the Kirker Enduro Prime Gray. After we get the sealer coat laid down, we're going to go ahead and do 2 coats of the Viper Red. I went ahead and I ordered another gallon of the Viper Red, or 3/4 of a gallon, and it was a different color. So what I had to do is go ahead and mix the 2 back and forth, and then that gave me a nice even color. So now I've got like essentially, well, they're each 3/4 gallon cans, so a gallon and a half plus, well, you know, do the math. Anyways, I have a little more than 2 gallons of paint, really, to go ahead and paint this whole car. So I got more than enough now. So let me go ahead and get some stuff mixed up, put together, get you on a tripod, and let's lay some paint.
And as you all know, every good paint job starts by using a little bit of prep all to go ahead and lift any kind of wax, grease, anything like that that might be lingering on the metal. Here we go ahead and just use one towel with a wet wipe and then immediately use a dry towel on there to go ahead and just pick up any of the wax or grease that was just lifted by the wet.
Alright, before we get to mixing, I want to show you guys this new gun that my wife got me for Christmas, and it's been a hot minute since I got it, but I got it set up now. It's the YT160, which is an LVLP. It comes with a cup system, and I had to add a regulator. But this thing is pretty slick. It came with 4 different tips. So I got that set up going, and that's what we're going to be giving a try. Hopefully don't mess it up too much. But let's go ahead and get some stuff mixed up. Let's get started on this. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out paint mixing 101. So it's funny because I have these cups, which are, you know, 4 to 1 to 1, which is great. And then I have these cups, which is 4 to 1. And then I got the percentages on here, which is awesome. That's what I need. And then over here, I've got, I could do 4 to 1 on this. And then it's got the percentages there. So I'm trying to figure out how much I need, because I need approximately 7 to 8 ounces. So I'm going for like 250 mil, right about there. Which means that I guess that I should probably, if I go to this line here, do that. And then, so I'm going to do paint to the 2, and I'm going to do hardener to the 2 there, and then I'm going to add up to 20% of reducer, which should give me, well, about 9 ounces roughly. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working with. I don't know, I got to figure this out. So let me get that started, and then let's go lay some paint. Got the gun ready, air pressure dialed in, so let's try to not make too much of a mess. All right, well, because it's me, I'm nervous by myself, but I think I'm ready, so let's go ahead and give it a try and see what happens. Wish me luck.
Alright, well you can see here that I am starting out with the Kirker Gray Primer. This is just a regular 2K primer. It's not an epoxy, it's just a regular urethane. And using the new paint gun, the YT160, I have the regulator set to be about 20 psi once I have the trigger fully pulled. So you can see it lays out the paint really nicely, and there's not a whole lot of overspray, which is definitely a nice change, especially coming from using an HVLP gun in the past. So I'm pretty happy with the way that this rolled on out. I felt the paint was very smooth and uniform. I only ran into like 1 or 2 little tiny drips here, but once I started laying the color, I didn't even have any of those issues.
Alright, there we go. Quite happy with the sealer coat. I had a little tiny drip here. That's it. I ain't worried about it. The engine block's gonna hide that. Outside of that though, it looks pretty good. I also did have one sag right there, but again, the battery's going to cover that. But got up underneath. Forgot to say too, I also threw a seam sealer up in here last night just to kind of seal that up a little bit. Same on the other side. But yeah, all right. Gun is cleaned. Got to get the Viper Red mixed. Let's get going. All right, we got the red. Let's cross our fingers and let it rip tater chip. We'll be following the same patterns as before. Do the uprights, get the bottom, and then at the top.
All right, well, I tell you, watching back on this footage as the red's getting laid down, it's wild. It looks so good. I'm very happy with the way that this came out. Some folks were saying that I really should have gone for a white primer underneath to make the red pop, but I like the gray primer with the red because that really seems to make the red kind of a darker, deeper tone of the red. But you can see here with the painting, this seemed to have a little bit more overspray, and I'm wondering maybe just because the viscosity of the paint was a little bit different from that of the primer, but it came out good.
All right, first coat is done. Oh, I just missed a spot, but I can get that as I come back. Looks good. I'm happy with it. I don't think I had any sags. This definitely sprays a lot different from the primer, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. I came down through here and I also got the bottoms because there was a little bit of overspray from previous projects and the temps and stuff, so overall though, I got a little spot there I missed. I'm gonna give this a few minutes, let it flash off, get it with coat 2. All right, let's go for round 2.
Alright, so as I go on for round 2, one thing I want to note is that when working with the LVLP versus the HVLP, is you really want to try to keep your distance between 6 and 12 inches is what it says. And it also, the directions say don't do any of that fancy hand motion, to kind of feather it off with the LVLP versus the HVLP. So if you take a look, I try to be consistent with that.
Alright, so I guess we're going to start just kind of peeling some of this back. Out of here. Everything I've seen online says to get the tape off while the paint is still soft, so
This was frankly some of the most satisfying work that I had done in quite a while in the car, especially as I was starting to pull the tape back and really kind of see the stark contrast between the red and then also the buff from the primer that we had on there before. There was a couple of spots where my taping was a little bit lacking, but hey, that's alright, because I'll be sanding that down anyways and then making sure that I tape off the red. But man, look at that. It's got a beautiful shine to it.
all right, well, it's not a concourse level paint job, but it's also not bad for someone who's never done this before. Right? I noticed that it laid down pretty nice here. There's other places up here where it's a little orange peely. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'm not really that concerned about it. I think if I were to be concerned about it, then I could always go ahead and then sand it. But, I mean, I'm happy. Look at that color. The color is fantastic. I have some color on the body again in a different spot. This was probably one of the worst spots of the car too, because if you remember, this was all covered in Bondo and fiberglass, and it was just an absolute mess. Now we got new metal, new paint. It looks good. Let's wrap this video up. All right, don't know if you can tell, but I am absolutely soaked. It is, you know, about 85 degrees right now, but the humidity is just 75, 80%. So it's definitely not ideal to be out painting, but we got it done. And I finally got this off of my shoulders because this has been really weighing me down. The ADHD paralysis, like I said in one of my earlier posts, has really come into play here. And I'm very overwhelmed by a couple of things, and this was one of those. So I'm happy to get this off my plate. A couple of lessons that we learned is that I took forever to get myself prepared this morning. I probably wasted like an hour. So the night before, I should definitely do some more prep work. So that way all I have to do is really roll the stuff out and then just lay down paint and go for it. Outside of that though, I mean, don't overthink it. It's kind of funny because I used ChatGPT to actually kind of coach me through this. It worked out quite well, actually. The only thing that maybe it let me down on a little bit was the fact that I ended up mixing just a little too much paint. But that's why I have the 2 gallons, right? So I got some extra paint. I can work with it, but I've also got the leftover paint stored away, so I can always save it for another day for touch-up if needed, provided it doesn't obviously cure between now and then. But yeah, that's it. I mean, look, it looks good. I'm happy. I didn't have any drips. I didn't have any runs that were like, ah, or anything like that. That new paint gun that I got, I love it. LVLP. Definitely a good way to go for those with your home garage and that are painting at home. You know, I got a 25 gallon, 26 gallon compressor, so it's decent size, but it's not good enough for HVLP. But the LVLP though, no problem whatsoever. I had it set at about 19 PSI or so. They say between 18 and like 22 is the ideal for the LVLP. I put a couple of inline regulators so that way I can really kind of control my airflow throughout the entire system. And that seemed to work out quite well. So I'm happy. Now that this is done, I still have the back of the car to do. I actually have to go ahead and get some epoxy onto that bare metal that's still back there. I got a couple of spots of surface rust that's starting to show, so I was thinking about trying to bust out some epoxy on this tonight, or today rather, but it's getting too hot in the day and I'm pretty wore out. So that's gonna be it. Thanks again for sticking around. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the follow button, click the bell to get those post notifications. And remember, we're working on project cars like this. Try not to paint in the midst of summer, and don't be that dreaded previous owner. Cheers.